What's up guys, Bix here, bringing you another squad builder on FIFA 17, and this is going to be another FUT Champions squad builder, and I know I haven't uploaded for around a week now, and that's because of FUT Champions. Honestly, it burnt me out of playing FIFA or doing anything involving FIFA. It's just way too many games. 40 games is far too many games to ask of somebody, especially when I have a part-time job, and I'm also going to start school in January soon. It's going to be hard for me to compete in the weekend league with very little time to do that. So I don't understand how EA expects people to play 40 games unless you have all the time in the world. And it honestly burnt me out. I didn't want to even think about playing FIFA for around a week, and I recently got back into it. I'm having some fun now, so hopefully I can get some uploads coming at you guys pretty soon. But the goalkeeper was very good. He was consistent, solid, and then the two center backs, we have Manolas and Alderweireld. Alderweireld was really good. You can go for Vertonghen for a cheaper alternative, but I think Alderweireld is the much better center back. He didn't feel too slow whatsoever, and he can also pass. His long passing was really great, because I'm the type of guy who likes to pass it out of his defense, but rather than just clearing it up. And Alderweireld is the kind of center back that you want if you have that same sort of play style as I do. And he's just fantastic in the air as well, and he's just really solid defensively. Manolas, pacey, he's just a beast at the back. He's not very good as far as dribbling or passing goes, so he's not the kind of center back that you want to be passing out of the back with. Very unreliable that way, but he wins the ball back very well. And Klein and Alexandro were two great fullbacks. Klein was actually amazing. I was really surprised with how good he was compared to how good Alexandro was. I thought that Alexandro was very good in most situations, but he did falter in other situations where I expect him to outpace certain players, but he got outpaced, outstrengthed, and he just wasn't in the correct position at times. And I thought that his positional awareness wasn't as good as I was hoping for. But Klein, overall, incredible right back. And then we have Kante, who was awesome. He's sort of like a Renato Sanchez. He's just not quite as well-rounded. He's incredible defensively. He makes tons of interceptions. He's not the greatest of shooters, but he has great acceleration and aggression, and he's just really good. Although he does lack in certain areas, like his passing isn't exactly the greatest, shooting unreliable in that sense, but he was just a really great ball winner. And then we have Nainggolan, who was the most disappointing player of the team. He did score me a couple of goals, got me a few assists. He was a good center mid, but I expected so much more out of him. In the past FIFAs, he's been one of my favorite midfielders. His work rate, his acceleration, defending, long shots, he had a bit of everything. This year he has that. He just didn't really blow me away like I was expecting. And honestly, Renato Sanchez, I expected him to be just better than him. Honestly, I expected him to be on the level of Renato Sanchez, but he wasn't even close, which is strange, because he has such great stats, but he didn't really live up to him. I don't know. He was good, although did let me down a little bit, especially for the amount of coins I paid for him. Around 50,000 coins. That's a lot of coins to pay for an 84 rated center mid, and he did not exactly live up, but he was good. So just know that you're not exactly paying for an incredible center mid, at least from my experience. And then Dembele was good as well. Great player to put right in the center there, sort of surrounded by two smaller center mids that track back and forth and win the ball back, and Dembele in the middle to link up the play, win headers. He does break up play here and there with tackles, interceptions. He's very strong, good on the ball. He's a really good, well-rounded center mid, but he did lack in certain areas, which was a little bit of a letdown, honestly. But then at the center attacking mid spot, we have Ben Arfa, who is my favorite player on the team by far. He was absolutely incredible. He was the main source of most of the goals and assists. I mean, most of the goals, I say that, but he contributed to most of the goals is what I'm saying. He didn't score me too many goals, but if he wasn't scoring a goal, he was mostly assisting them. And I got an engine chemistry style on him, which is what I recommend putting on him, because it boosts his dribbling, his pace, because he felt very quick on this team, and his passing as well. And he felt so good with his passing. Like, I was a little bit scared that his sort of playmaking abilities wouldn't be as good as other cams with higher passing stats, but his long passing and his ability to play that final ball through was so much better than I was expecting. With his high-low work rates, he also would overlap and sometimes play the striker role, which I was not opposed to at all, because his strike is absolutely incredible. I thought that he was great. His distance shooting, as you just saw right there, is amazing. You'll see a couple more examples of that. Felt very quick, one of the better dribblers I've used. His chance creation abilities, the runs that he makes, I honestly felt that he was such an impactful player and would show up in the best times possible. and he was just the most consistent player on this team, by far and away the most consistent performer on this team. Even in games where I was being outperformed by my opponent, I could always rely on Ben Arfa to step up and put a goal in, or play a crucial pass through, or just create a chance out of nothing. And right there, he just bangs in. And you'll see one more example here at the end of his finesse abilities. He's just so good. He's one of the better players I think I've used on the entire game. The team overall was very good, but obviously I was playing in FUT Champions, so you're not going to see as many crazy goal records as you'd see if I was playing with this team in divisions or tournaments. But for the fact that I'm playing in FUT Champions, a very competitive game mode, probably the most competitive FIFA you can play this year, the goals and assists that he got for me is really impressive, and he was incredible. Honestly, one of my favorite players I think I've used on this game. He was so much fun to use. And then the two strikers, we have Ben Yedder and Lacazette. Of course, I would have liked to go with Griezmann instead of Ben Yedder, but could not afford it. But Ben Yedder is definitely a very good alternative. Didn't get me too many goals, but I don't know. I don't think that's really reflecting of how well he actually played. He did do a good job, although sometimes his high work rates did push him back a little bit. But that did allow Ben Arfa to push forward and play the striker role, which, like I said, I'm not opposed to whatsoever. But Ben Yedder did score me some good goals, some very crucial goals at times as well. And I thought that he was good. He was a good performer. He did sort of get lost in certain situations, in certain games. He didn't really show up, but he did pop up in very good situations. And sometimes, like, he felt really quick to latch onto those through balls and scored some pretty nice goals for me. I'd actually say he scored nicer goals than Lacazette scored for me overall. Like, Lacazette scored me some pretty jammy goals at times, but Ben Yedder would score me some quality goals, and I was really impressed with how he played for the most part. But he did, like I said, get lost at times and was probably one of the weaker links of the team for the most part. But I don't know, it's hard to really judge him too much because he does such a great job to link up play as well as finish. Although, as you can see in the goal record, did not score me too many goals, but I think he did make up for it with the assists that he got. And I thought he was a great support striker to Lacazette, who scored me obviously a lot more goals than Ben Yedder did, which you'll see in a second. And like I said, we have Lacazette as our other striker, who was very good. I paid quite a bit of coins for him, and I can't really say he's worth that. He is worth a try if you have the extra coins laying around, but you could go for Menez if you want to go for a cheaper alternative. Ben Arfa, you could substitute for Cabela if you don't want to pay all the coins. But I do think Lacazette is worth the coins if you have that amount of coins, and he's not exactly breaking the bank for you. He's definitely a player worth trying because he is solid. He's a very solid striker. His pace was great. He felt very quick. EA did bump his strength up a little bit to compensate for the pace downgrade they gave him, and it's a welcome addition because he felt very strong on the ball. He's great. He's really good on the ball as well with his dribbling. Very good first touch as well. He always sits on the last man, at least most of the time, because he does have a high work rate. So I did push him behind Ben Arfa at times, which was a bit of a problem having both strikers with high work rates. But the one good thing about it is that they both wouldn't push back at the same time. Say Lacazette would push back behind Ben Arfa would come forward and sort of substitute and play the striker role, or vice versa. Ben Yedder would come back and Ben Arfa would substitute for him. And you know, it was a decent system they had going on there, and it was good because they both wouldn't push back at the same time. One would go or the other would, and you know, it made the high work rates not matter too much, but at times it did bother me. But I thought Lacazette was a good striker. He did not really live up to my expectations. I thought he would be a little bit better, but he did a good job to score me quite a bit of goals in FUT Champions. He's not exactly the player to carry a team. At least he didn't carry this team. That was definitely Ben Arfa, but he did do a really good job. And the team overall was very good. I think if you were to bring it into seasons, into tournaments, you would absolutely dominate with this team, as long as you're a moderately good player. But for me, as a FUT Champions team, it's not that squad that'll bring me to the promised land and carry me into the elite ranks. Because I do think that if I find that squad that meshes perfectly with me and suits my playstyle, then I can maybe inch into the elite status. But this was not the team to do that for me. I played very sloppy FIFA near the end with this squad because, like I said at the beginning of the video, 40 games is way too much, and there comes a point where it's way too much FIFA. It's way too much FIFA for 2 days to play 40 games, and there comes a point where I was just I was just grinding the games, and that's one thing I don't want FIFA to feel like is a grind, and FUT Champions definitely makes FIFA feel like a grind. Playing 40 games I think is a ridiculous number. So let me know in the comment section what you thought of this video overall, guys, and what you think of FUT Champions. If you agree with me that 40 games is just way too much, and I would definitely be interested in knowing your opinions in the comments down below. Anyway guys, thank you for watching and have a nice day.